I've been getting wild comments about Trump awarding himself a Purple Heart. Trump is not in power. He cannot award himself a Purple Heart. He was given one by one of his followers at one of his rallies. And what's wild is I thought I was going crazy because I was like, I feel like we've been here before, and I had to look it up. In 2016, he was also given a Purple Heart at one of his rallies. That time he said, wow, I've always wanted one of these. This was much easier. That time it was an Iraq veteran that gave it to him. This time it was a Vietnam veteran, which is worse because Vietnam was the war that Trump got 5 deferments for his bone spurs. And the same war that later, when interviewed, he said avoiding STDs in the 80s was his personal Vietnam. No, Trump, Vietnam was your personal Vietnam. You dodged the draft. And am I disgusted that a veteran would give his own awarded Purple Heart to Trump because some glass hit him in the ear after he got shot at? Or whatever happened because he refuses to release medical records. But as a medic who has been to war, I can tell you what a bullet wound doesn't look like, and it's his perfectly healed ear. And even if it was a bullet and it did strike him, that's not how you get Purple Hearts, because a rally isn't a war. But, like, this isn't the first time that he's done it. He said something disgusting the last time, but he says disgusting things about and to veterans all the time. He insulted Gold Star families, the families of the fallen. He insulted POWs when he said about John McCain, I prefer people who don't get captured. By the way, John McCain, when he was captured, refused to be extradited back to America until all of the other POWs with him were also taken care of. The man endured more torture so that he could protect the people around him. And Trump said, yeah, I don't care. I prefer people who don't get captured because they disagreed on something. He's been quoted as calling our dead losers and suckers. He, when brought to military funerals, says he's uncomfortable around disabled veterans. He's been quoted multiple times about how he doesn't understand the sacrifice or why people join the military. He insulted Medal of Honor winners by comparing it to the Medal of Freedom and how that one's so much better because you don't have to get hurt or die to get it. He's the only president in American history that didn't have a peaceful transfer of power after he lost an election. When Obama passed a McCain bill expanding the VA and giving veterans health care outside of it, Trump took credit for it by extending the bill and then pretending that it was his. And if he gets back into power, he's going to privatize the VA, he's going to change the disability requirements for veterans, and he's going to reevaluate all the disability claims that have already been fought tooth and nail for. It's all written out in Project 2025, the document he pretends he has nothing to do with, even though he was a keynote speaker for the Heritage Foundation, and in his first term, passed something like 70% of the Heritage Foundation's wish list. So yeah, is it gross that he was given a Purple Heart by one of his followers for a war that he dodged the draft of? Yeah, it's gross. But throw it on the fucking pile. He certainly didn't get awarded one, and he's not the president, so he didn't get a loophole either. He was just handed one by someone who did earn it in combat. So the only thing about this situation that's surprising is all the misinformation swirling around it. But Trump being disrespectful to veterans, that's par for the course. It's the only time the man ever gets anywhere close to par. Because he's as bad a golfer as he was a commander-in-chief. The only thing Trump is good at is lying. Oh, P.S. I had to add this at the end. Very recently, when asked about the time that Iran bombed American troops while he was president, setting off one of the conflicts overseas right now that he constantly is trying to pin on Biden, Trump went, oh, those guys who had headaches? No, Trump, not headaches. They have brain damage. They have TBIs, traumatic brain injuries, some of which so bad they had to retire from the military. Little more than just a headache, but what does he care? He needs to pin the blame on his opponents, so anyone who died or was injured while he was the president gets pushed under the rug. Like the 65 service members that died in combat under the Trump administration that he never brings up and never says the names of. He only attacks Biden for the 13 that died in that withdrawal. The withdrawal that Trump set into motion by making a deal with the Taliban. One he wanted to make at Camp David on 9/11. But he went around the Afghan government, made a deal with the Taliban, released 5,000 Taliban terrorists from prison to go do more terror, one of whom went on to lead the attack that killed those 13. Just like that time he abandoned our allies, the Kurds. Or that time that bounties were put on American soldiers' heads and he did nothing about it. Honestly, this video could go on for hours, just outlining all the times that he did or said something disgusting in regards to veterans. Trump does not have the capacity to even understand what veterans do or what they sacrifice. And so no veteran should have anything but contempt for him. But unfortunately, veterans, pretty susceptible to propaganda. And also a lot of us, including me, have brain damage, which, affects your decision-making skills. So while I'm not jazzed about the decisions of my brothers in arms, I do understand them. Brain damage is a hell of a thing, even if Trump himself thinks it's just a headache.